Get this recording for everybody and we'll go ahead and get started. All right. So welcome everybody and thank you for attending the webinar today of Save Money on Medications with inSourceRx Advantage. I am Jenny Tkuski, the Programming and Communications Manager here for the Better Business Bureau Midwest Plains. Just wanted to let everybody know we are recording today's webinar, and later on we will send out a follow-up email along with the presentation information in this webinar for you to view for future references. We are fortunate today to have our guest, Nigel O'Mahony with inSourceRx. I hope I pronounced that right, Nigel. Nigel is originally from Cork in Ireland and has worked in media marketing, public relations, in a career that has spanned within 4 countries in 25 years. He moved to the US in 2015 to launch Think Whole Person Healthcare right here in Omaha, Nebraska, and was named the ACE National Healthcare Communication Consultant of the Year in 2019. Campaigning for better healthcare has been a constant thread throughout his career, and creating easier access to medication is a key pillar of their fight. He was one of the founding members of inSourceRx. Nigel is a keen rugby fan of his native Munster and a USTA League tennis player here in Omaha. In his spare time, he literally travels the world to see his 4 children. We ask if you have any questions to please put them in the Q&A portion, and we will get to all of those at the end of the presentation. So without no further ado, welcome everyone, and especially welcome Nigel, and it is all yours.
Thank you so much, Jenny, and a pleasure to meet you all. Please somebody hold up their hand if I speak too quickly. I might be here a long time, but the Irish accent comes back strong sometimes and goes very fast. And thank you for pronouncing my name correctly in the American term, Jenny. If I was in Cork, it would be O'Mahony, but nobody says that here, so you had it absolutely perfectly right. So it's a pleasure to meet you all. I'll be brief. But what I want to do today is to make sure that you have a clear understanding basically about how discount pharmacy cards work, and more importantly, why they're so valuable and necessary. They're not, and this is important, the answer to every prescription. They don't necessarily discount, but one of the things that has happened in the US recently in particular, which is a good thing, is that consumers are beginning to understand that they have options when it comes to paying for their prescriptions. And I want to put that in context because it's important, right? If I said to you that 20% of prescriptions in the US are left at the counter, that might amaze you, 1 in 5, but that's a fact. And 70% of those are left at the counter because people can't afford to pay for them. It's a really serious problem because when you are not adherent to your medications, you get sick and you end up in hospital. So pharmaceutical care is hugely important, and this is what we view this as part of. If you can't afford your medications, you're going to get sick. It's as simple as that. And just to put it into context as well, if you look at hospital readmissions in the US, 30% of all readmissions are because of non-adherence to medication. And of those, again, the vast majority are because people simply can't afford them. So that's the problem that RX discount cards, if you like, help to solve. They don't solve it in total, don't get me wrong, but they help to solve it. So basically, if you look at how you buy medications here, you have 3 ways, effectively. You can pay cash, which, by the way, is the most expensive way to buy medication. You can be insured, which is fine. You have a copay, and you can use a discount card. So what are the differences between the 3? Well, let's look at the first one, cash. If you do not have coverage and you have to pay cash for your medications, then you will pay the highest price because you will not avail of any rebates that the insurance companies will have or that the PBMs, the pharmacy benefit managers, offer. You simply pay the highest price. If you use insurance, obviously you use a copay. And if you use the card, you get the rebate price. One of those is going to be your best deal with every medication you take. There is no one answer here, and that's important. But let me give you an example from my own case. I was prescribed an antacid about 2 months ago, and I went to my pharmacy, and I went to pay cash, and the farm tech at the gates, he said, did your doctor tell you how much this is going to cost? I'm sure we've all heard this. The answer for an antacid for 90-day supply was $744. I went, what? So I gave him my Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance card. I said, try that. And the answer was, it's not, your drug isn't in network. So I gave him one of our discount cards, and he said, oh, that's a bit better. It's $44. So a discount from $744 cash to $44 with the card. That's an exception. It's not usually that high. But the important thing was I had the option of using all three to see which was the best price. And what I want to do is to explain to you how cards work and how the card that we have partnered with Better Business Bureau, which is branded with you, we like to stay in the background and effectively what we want to do is to have you market this to the organizations you serve as an added value. There is no cost. And what I want to do is if we go to slide 2, Jen, that would be great.
Yes, I'm there.
Thank you. Oh, I can see them now. Actually, they've just reappeared. Excellent. Right. So this is the unique portal that is unique to the Better Business Bureau. So effectively, this is yours. So the URL to this and all those details I know are there later on. But when you log into this, you see the first page there on the left by simply entering insourcerxgives.com/BBB. And you will see two things. You will see Get Your Free Card, which is a BBB branded card, and you will see Find Your Medications. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, is to get your card delivered. Now, there are 4 ways that can happen. You can actually print it off yourself on this. You can text looking for a card, and a card will be texted back to you immediately. That will give you, that's all you need to go into a pharmacy, and I'll explain how it works in the pharmacy shortly. You can get it emailed to you, or we will mail out, we fulfill all hard card mailings here. So if somebody puts a request in for a physical card, a plastic card, then we get that and we fulfill that straight out. Now, one important thing, we do not collect data. We're not in that business. We have no link with what medications are supplied. We have no link with the people who download the card. We only ask for the information that sends the card to you the way you wish for it. So in other words, if you want the card emailed to you, you'll put in your email, but we won't have any other details. If you want the card texted to you, we'll put in your phone number. We won't have any other details. Obviously, if you want the card mailed to you, then you'll put in your name and address, and we'll send it. But we are not in the business. That data is never, ever moved anywhere else. And that's really important. Because I know there have been issues with other card providers in relation to that. But you choose how you want it sent, and the card arrives. Normally, if somebody looks for a hard card, we look to fulfill that within 2 weeks. So that's our timeline when that happens. So it couldn't be simpler. So if we go to the next slide, Jenny. Thank you. Now, what is here, even if you never used the card, the portal is, if you like, the Google of medications. It's a hugely powerful tool that anybody can use. And I'll give you an example. If you go on to Google and look for medication pricing, the chances are the market leader will be the first one you'll see is GoodRx. So Google doesn't even have this information. These are huge back-end engines that give the prices on any given day of any given medication in any given pharmacy. So you can imagine that's a powerful tool. And the benefit of that is not only that you can see what price you can pay at the pharmacy, But just as importantly, you can compare pharmacies. And this is where we're slightly unique. So when you go there, the first thing you can do is find your pharmacy. We know, for example, 70% of people use the same pharmacy all the time. And I'll give you an example of how this can be transformative. The founder of our company, Jim Christensen, is a hemophiliac. And most hemophiliac drugs are actually patented, so there is not necessarily a discount on the card. However, and they're expensive, like $1,500–$1,700 a month. However, when he used this search engine, he discovered that the pharmacy that he was getting his drugs from were actually $300 a month more expensive than another pharmacy down the road. So what you've got here is you've got a pharmacy comparison tool just as much as a medication discount tool, if that makes sense. So you simply find your pharmacy that you usually use, enter the zip, and the list of pharmacies will come up. Click on yours. Then step 2, you choose your medications. You enter your medication, you put it in. And step 3, you see your savings. Now on the third one there, you see at the top, your pharmacy. And what you can see is the price for a generic and a brand version of that. This is a Lipitor, I think it's 20 milligrams. The screen is quite small here, so I'm having difficulty seeing it. But from my memory, it's 20 milligrams, 30-day supply of Lipitor, the statin. So, but effectively, what you also see underneath your pharmacy is the prices at all the other pharmacies in your region. And very often, before you even save on the medication, you can save simply by switching pharmacy. I hope that makes sense to everybody. So what this is designed to do is to give you a choice. And then the next step is obviously you go to the pharmacy. And this is where on the first use of any of these cards, it can be a bit tricky. And the reason is that farm techs and pharmacy people working in pharmacies are busy. And if that prescription has been sent by your doctor electronically, and it's a regular prescription, they will have on file how you regularly pay for that, whether that's your insurance, whether it's cash, or whether it's Medicare, or whether it's another matter. And so when they process that, they would process it using that payment. So if we go to the next slide, Jenny, I want to explain what the numbers mean. So when you go to your card, you will see these circled. You showed the card to or handed to the pharmacist. It's really important first time to ask them to enter the circled 4 lines of numbers and letters. And what they are is member ID, BBB22, is a unique identifier of BBB, people who use BBB cards. It's not identified by person, it's simply grouped into the Better Business Bureau. The next one is a group ID, which is an ID where we put various organizations together. Then there is a BIN, which is our identification, and then there's a PCN, which is the Pharmacy Benefit Manager, in this case, or who we work with, which is Elixir Savings, that is theirs. Those numbers are in effect, it's not insurance, but they are in effect the numbers that correspond to how the price is generated at the pharmacy. So you ask them to enter and they will come up with the price. Now it's really important that consumers understand that you're looking for the best price. So if all pharmacies have what they call a usual and customary price, problem is it changes every day. And that is the usual and customary price that they will charge you for that medication. If the card beats that, then they will give the card price. If the card does not beat that, fine, you'll still get the other price, which is lower, and that's cool. You know you're getting the best price. If you're insured, you ask them to enter your insurance, rather like I did with the antacid. Now the choice is yours. Are you going to pay $744, $44, or maybe it's $64 with a copay? But with the copay, you say, oh, well, I want to get to my deductible. Well, here's one of the interesting things about deductible. And that is with the proliferation now of high deductible plans from an insurance perspective. If you look at a typical high deductible plan of $6,000 a year, on average, users of those plans only hit their deductible every 7 years. So effectively, this race to the deductible, which as somebody not from the US, I found very strange at the start. In other words, I need to pay as fast as I can to get to my deductible so I don't have to pay. But in high deductible land, and with especially with HSAs now, why not use your HSA, get the lowest price, because you're never going to hit your deductible, if that makes sense. It's just a different way of thinking. But we have to educate the consumer and to ask for the different prices. And then step 4 in that is really important. It's tell the pharmacist to save your card details in the system so you won't have to go through that again. And then you simply enjoy your savings. Now, how do we work with you? Well, simply, this is something we support. We go to the next slide, Jenny. Thank you. We believe in partnering with people and giving them their own brand pharmacy discount card. So we partner with we have about 100 partners across the nation. And they effectively know how to market to their communities and their audiences. We don't. So we adopt a partnership approach where we support organizations, in this case the BBB, with marketing materials, with advice. And by the way, all of this is done at no cost. But you know how to get this out there. We don't. Secondly, we don't want the details of your database. We're not in that business, as I say. We don't. That's yours, and you use that alone. Does that make sense? So therefore, it's that simple. And in effect, the reality is that pharmacy discount cards shouldn't exist. The reality is that everybody should get the rebated price if they're paying cash at a drugstore. The reality is they don't, and therefore these exist. But I can tell you that 50% of the time, the card will give you a discount better than you would have got yourself. And we find that 30% of our card usage is from Medicare patients. Because you can't use both. You can't use insurance and the card. You can't use Medicare and the card. But what we find is that very often the insurance or the discount price card will actually be less than the copay you might pay on insurance or Medicare. But the important thing to remember here is it's about options. It's about picking the best option for you, the consumer, and choice. So really, in a nutshell, we're delighted to be partnering with the Better Business Bureau. We think it's something that is easy to offer, both to members and to employees, especially if you have a high. I would especially say if you have a high deductible plan, or if you don't have a standard health plan for businesses. It's something that can be done very easily. And what we find is that when people plug it into those systems, that's when you see the most usage. So our most successful usage has been with organizations who have made it a part of their HR policy, for want of a better way of putting it. So where you see your benefits, where you see your 401k, where you see whatever, you also see the pharmacy discount card to download, if that makes sense. Because the key is if people don't download it, they can't use it. And I know I said I'd keep it short. I know we only have half an hour. So yeah, I want to throw it open, and any questions, be delighted to answer them.
One question, Nigel, is with the cards. So if an organization has only 5 employees, or say another organization has 500 employees, does each company just get the one specific card for their employees to give out, or does each individual person have to have a separate card?
No, let's be fair. The card you've just seen there,
Mm-hmm.
that's what everybody gets. So effectively, those 4 numbers that I mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
and the BBB, that is the card everyone gets. That's why it's not identifiable. We just know that it's a BBB card has used a prescription. We have no idea who or where, nor do we want to. So effectively, and the good news is they can use it you can download as many as you want. If you want to give it to family members, you can. There's no problem with that. But it's not a unique identifier. That's really important.
I'll give you guys time. If you have any other questions, please remember just go ahead and come in the Q&A portion. Just real quick, so how do you get to your cards with us? So on your business login page, when you go there, on the left-hand side, you'll see savings programs. And when you click on that, you'll scroll down to the bottom where it says additional savings. And underneath there, you'll see the inSourceRx Med for Less logo. And then with that, once you click on it, then it'll take you straight into where you can get your cards and go from there. And again, with the follow-up email that we send out today, we will put this information in there as well as the presentation information. So you have all the slides and everything else from there. I'm not seeing any other questions as of right now. So just to let everybody know, some of the upcoming events that we have going on with the Better Business Bureau on the West Plains is tomorrow we have another webinar in regards to streamlining your business response strategies. On July 17th, we have top tips for sending a child off to college. So if you or anybody that you know is sending a kid off to college for the first time, please let them know about this webinar in regards to tips for them to protect their identity, for if they still need financial aid, what they can do, or what do you take away to college. So please let people know about that. On July 18th, we have the benefits of BBB accreditation. And then on August 6th, we are actually partnering up with Bellevue Police Department and also the Council Bluffs Police Department for a national night out. So please come out and visit us and see us at those events. September 24th is our 27th annual Torch Award luncheon, celebrating the Torch Award, Spark Award, and Student of Integrity winners. And then on September 26th in Overland Park, Kansas, we will be having our ribbon cutting and open house ceremony. So remember to check us out at bbbinc.org for all of that. If you have any suggestions or ideas of webinars or events that you would like to have the Bureau host, please reach out to me and let me know. And I would love to talk to you about those opportunities and go from there. I want to say thank you to everybody for participating in today's webinar. And I hope you're excited about getting those cards downloaded and start using them. A special thank you to you, Nigel, as well, for taking the time out of your schedule to come and explain this wonderful benefit that we're able to offer to our ABs and employees regarding the RX card. And I'm not seeing any other questions. So lastly, just real quick, just to let you know, we do have a survey, so please fill it out. Let us know and give us feedback in regards to today's webinar for you. Sorry for the little hiccups with technology today and cameras not working, but we made it all work and come together. So thank you for your patience regarding all of that. And again, I will send out a follow-up email with all of this information and the webinar for you guys too. I hope everybody has a wonderful afternoon. Again, Nigel, thank you so much for all of this information.
No, and thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Oh, real quick, let me see here.
That's me.
Oh, that's you. Never mind. So,
I was just saying thank you to all.
yeah, well, thank you. So everybody have a great afternoon. Bye.
Bye-bye.